Hi, it's Jane. Thought I would have you join me while I'm doing a little bit of crocheting today. A little bit of a chat. Um, yeah, it's been rather interesting, this whole CPAP thing. I had my second night with it. Did okay, I think. And then I get up, and what I'm seeing for the sleep report is that I only used it for 3 hours and 38 minutes. Yet I had it on for over 7.5 hours. So I'm not quite sure how that works. I do have a call out to the person who is managing my CPAP there at the Wynn Care. But I had asked someone who uses the CPAP what that meant, and she said that doesn't make sense. If you had it on the entire 7.5 hours, which I got up to go pee twice, and she said normally hers does not stop recording the time when she takes it off to go to the bathroom. It records that entire time. So, I don't know. Guess we'll see, won't we? And no one seems to explain to me why it is only showing 3.38 hours. The other thing that I noticed is normally you can change the ramp time on it so that, it goes a little slower over, more than, you can take it up to 20 minutes from what I understand, where you can take that ramp time up to 20 off of auto. Mine does not allow me to do that. It doesn't allow me to change that. In fact, within 5 seconds, it's blowing full force. So, I don't know. I'm still learning. So I guess that's just going to be part of that learning curve. Right? Have you guys heard about the possible strike of the longshoremen? Starting Tuesday, October the 1st. I wonder how that's going to affect prices of things. If they're not moving the goods that are coming in out to the different trailers and things that need to be shipped off, I would imagine we're going to have higher prices than what we already see for some of those goods that we normally have. Of course, a lot of those goods are coming from other countries, so I guess that's not a bad thing. I guess that means gas will go up too. Yippee. So, yeah, because if you don't realize, the majority of our oil now comes from OPEC countries. It's countries that can't stand us. So, yeah. I don't know. And I was watching the Kamala's interview on NBC or whatever it was, and I thought, why does she not answer the questions? I mean, it's almost like she's just telling you what the question was, but she never finishes it with how she is going to fix that, how she is going to change that. Bizarre. Yeah, just bizarre. Not real sure she can answer the question. And someone sent me a clip from where she was speaking about with the Hurricane Helene, And it honestly sounds like she is drunk. She's slurring words. She has lisps. Some of it didn't make sense. I'm like, hopefully I can go to the C-SPAN and find the actual full press briefing. And yeah, that's kind of what I do for fun. Like when I'm uploading a video, I'm generally watching something press briefings or looking at what the White House is doing, what our Congress is doing, because I think that's part of being an informed citizen. I know a lot of people don't do that, and that's, if that gets you by, good for you. But I like to know what's going on and what they're doing. So I like to look at those bills and see what they're planning on voting on or not voting on, and what they chose to throw by the wayside, that kind of thing. Just because I'm curious. But, yeah, I just think it's going to be an interesting fall this year. Speaking of fall, this is that time of year where you don't know whether to actually put away your spring, summer clothes and get out all your fall, winter clothes, or mix and match. Like, I'll give you an example. I have a Bible study class where we're studying the book of Luke. And we meet on Thursday mornings. And generally we meet downstairs, which is not really heated. So in the morning it's supposed to be like 23 degrees, supposedly around 7 a.m. in the morning. But we're supposed to get up to a high of 72, which doesn't always mean by the time we meet at 10 o'clock that it's 72 degrees. So, who knows? I started laughing. I said, well, I still have 2 of those radiant oil heaters. I could bring those to class if you wanted. So, yeah. And generally with this Bible study class, it generally lasts till about noon. And then we have lunch together. We do a potluck lunch, sort of, in a way. Generally, there are 3 people involved. Someone brings the main dish, someone brings like a side dish, and then someone will bring a dessert. So it's just a nice time to socialize with the ladies, get to talk with them, that kind of thing. And this last week, the gal had made chicken corn chowder, I think. That's what it was. It was really good. Really good. In fact, it was so good I took some home. So I could have it for another meal later. But yeah, it was just a nice get together. And I enjoy this Bible study because the ladies are a lot of fun. And I know a lot of them from the different churches around. But not only that, but a lot of them go to the Lamar Lighthouse music concerts during the summer months. So it was just getting a lot of fun to get and talk with them and that kind of thing. So, my cats were rather funny with the CPAP last night. I sat up and I did some reading and stuff with it on my face before going to bed. Of course, Ronan, that's normally his time. when he likes to come get in bed and lay next to me and get a lot of cuddles and snuggles and petting, that kind of thing. But last night he got on the bed and he kind of looked at me, had this look of concern on his face because I had the mask on. And he didn't quite know what to do about it. So I petted him and loved on him like I normally do. He laid down next to me for some more loving and what I call scritches because he likes to have his part of his back scratched. So I give him a little bit of that and that kind of thing. Then he likes his neck to be rubbed and petted, so I do that. And then generally about that time he'll go lay down by my feet. And that's generally when Izzy comes in. But the whole time he kept looking at me like, I'm very suspicious about you. But he finally calmed down and went down to the bottom of the bed to lay down. And then about that time Izzy comes in, she gets up on the bed. And Izzy is the type of cat, she has to come sniff your mouth and your nose. So she starts to do that. And of course, when she moves in, I've got the CPAP in my nose because it's the pillow with the things. And she kind of goes like this, and I realize she's getting that air that's blowing back out because there's a vent there. And she's totally freaking out by that. She's like, but she wound up laying next to me for her fair share of pets, loving, and scratches too. And then she went and laid down by her brother at the end of the bed. So it is funny to watch them. And of course, when I take it off in the morning, that's interesting to watch their behavior as well. Because they constantly want to get at the hose and get at everything and touch it and feel it and I'm sure play with it and bite it. So yeah, it's just been interesting seeing their behavior. Sorry about kicking the can. But like I said, it's been interesting seeing their behavior, seeing how they act towards it, that kind of thing. And having them get used to me being in that equipment as well. And what I'm rather surprised about is when they talk to you about the care of it, they don't really give you a good idea what to do with it, how to wipe down the mask and everything. I did wind up going online to find that out. And then I ordered, they have some what they call CPAP wipes. So I did order some of those for the first little bit until I get used to cleaning it and everything. So it's just a lot of fun learning how to do that kind of stuff. Not. Because when they're going through this with you, what you get is wash it with warm soapy water with a mild detergent. All right, what do you consider a mild detergent? Dish soap? Soft soap? What? So, yeah, I just find the instructions that they give you seem to be not quite adequate. And I guess in some ways that comes from me as being a nurse. When I was doing home health and I was instructing people about their equipment or anything like that, I would go over everything with them. Sometimes we were there for an hour, hour and a half. And that was perfectly fine because they needed that reassurance that they could run the machine, do whatever that they needed to do with it correctly. And I felt that that was time well spent with them because very few times did I have to worry about having a call later on that evening in the middle of the night on how to run that equipment. So, and it worked every time. And generally, I'd ask them to make sure that there was someone there with them who could also learn at the same time. I mean, that way it makes it easier because one will remember something that the other might. But, I mean, it was complete thorough, you know. We went over how to keep the machine clean, what you needed to do in between, you know, whatever you were doing, had the machine for, how to clean it, and all that kind of stuff. And that just seems kind of lacking these days. I don't know if that's the way that things just go these days, but even when you sit and you look at the manuals, they don't really explain how to do it very well either. Well, I would think if you're working with a breathing machine, you want to make sure that you don't have any mold or anything like that getting in there and what to do about it. So, yeah. But I think things are going okay. I do still think it's going to take me some time to adjust to it. And just find it interesting. And my sister-in-law told me, she said, "Oh, you're going to feel some immediate relief. You're going to feel better." Nope, not yet. So I expect that to come within a couple of weeks. But I'm just a little surprised at not being able to change that ramp up so that it goes a little bit slower. So maybe I'll, when the nurse is here, you know, pick her brain. And I did find out that some of the side effects, part of that, you know, what I was telling you the first time, was feeling like I was hyperventilating and my chest was hurting. Someone did explain what that is caused by, one of the side effects, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. But those are the kind of things you need more information on, and they should be included, you know, in the booklets, the brochures, whatever, when they hand out those machines, so you're not totally freaking out. Of course, I think the cats freaked out more than I did. And that's just because they were like, "What on earth do you have on your face? Do we have to live through this too?" And I've been having fun running the cats through the house with the laser pointer. And Ronan does this thing where he drifts with his back end, just kind of slides around. And it's funny to watch him because he gets to going. But I was kind of curious, and this is one of those things I will probably go in search of an answer as to why they do it. Why the cats, when you've got the laser pointer and you're going back and forth, why their heads do like that? You know? Because I don't think cats have monovision. So, you know, that kind of freaked me out a little bit to see them doing that. And why they were doing it. But they kind of, they enjoy the game. They enjoy running and playing. And I was worried about Izzy not wanting to, because she is a chunky girl. And I do mean chunky. Which I've been working on that with her, trying to play with her a little bit more and cutting back on their food a little bit more, because I am overfeeding them. But they're my babies, so I spoil them. When they cry out for snacks, I give them. So that's been a lot of fun. So, what are you guys working on today? Do you have any plans for your weekend? And I know this is going up Saturday. So, I'm just curious what your plans are. Do you have anything that you're concrete going to do? This weekend is our farm to city out at the fairgrounds. So I thought about going out and just kind of perusing through it, seeing what the vendors have, that kind of thing. You know, just curious to see. And seeing some of the things like the milking of the cows, that kind of stuff. That's always fun to watch. Milking of the goats, whatever it is they choose to do. Usually it's a goat. And I think that's because a lot of people get too freaked out by having a cow and their kid there. But it's always a little bit of a fun time, and lots of times a lot of families go out to it. Now I don't think it's this weekend, maybe it's next weekend. There is an Oktoberfest near me. Do any of you go to the Oktoberfest? Do you enjoy that kind of thing? I know I also enjoy going to the craft fairs, but I haven't seen that there are very many craft fairs listed. So, but I think there are supposedly crafts at the Oktoberfest as well. Those are the main things I like to go look at. You know, I'm not a beer drinker and don't really care about the foods, that kind of thing. So, although there are some occasional foods I do like to try, would like to try, you know, just to see. And I'm hoping that they do have some of those traditional German foods available. So that would be nice to try something like that. So just wondering if you guys have anything special you're doing this weekend. I was kind of laughing because they're with the prayer shawl. And Lord knows why they chose this for this prayer shawl. I have no idea. For the prayer shawl meal, they're planning on doing sauerkraut and hot dogs with some pork mixed into the sauerkraut and mashed potatoes. And the only bad thing is that the church then smells like sauerkraut for several weeks after that. But that weekend is the knit and run, just a few days later. So, yeah, I'm just kind of curious about that. How that's going to work. But then again, you never know. Maybe they found a room deodorizer. Take out some of that smells. Guess we'll see, right? And they generally invite the public to come out and, newspapers, that kind of thing, so they can write a story about it. Of course, my favorite part is seeing the motorcyclists come in. But last year we only had one motorcyclist come in on his bike. The rest of them didn't want to because it was raining. So I'm hoping that on that day that there is nice, decent weather. I think it's October the 5th. So I'm hoping that there's decent weather so the motorcyclists will ride their bikes. Because I've told you before, and I've done videos before showing it, just hearing the rumble from blocks away as they start heading into the church, it's kind of cool, neat to see, neat to hear, that kind of thing. And I believe we're also the one young lady that plays the piano, she will be there with her dog. Her one dog passed away, so she now has a new dog, and I cannot remember the dog's name. For some reason, I want to say it's like Christmas Bell or something like that. But she normally comes in, plays the piano while people are viewing the things that are stretched out onto the pew. And sing along if you want, or just enjoy the music. And then eventually it gets to the point where the bikers will take up everything to the different places that they're going to take and deliver to. And then they will start their process of heading out to those different nursing homes and facilities that they take items to. So it's always kind of interesting to see, to be a part of it. I do think this time though, and mainly because every time we've done this, I have taken sandwiches, chips, and all kinds of things for snacks, because that's part of the social time for us, is we feed them before they go out, which I'm not sure why. I mean, because really, who wants to eat lunch at 10:30 in the morning? I think they ought to move it back to 11. it would be a better time, but, you know, they've not ever wanted to do it that time. So it's going to be what it's going to be. But then afterwards, after the bikers leave, then the rest of us usually sit around and talk a little bit, and we generally eat then, and whatever's left. And generally, there's so much that's left, it's ridiculous. So I'm thinking, I don't know if I'll even bring anything this time. We'll see. Normally, they pass around a sheet for us to sign if we're going to bring something. And of course, the church normally, some of the members of the church usually donate something. So, it's been fun. And I've noticed with the cooler weather, more deer have been coming down. And generally, they're in the front yard. In the evenings, they're usually in the back. Let me get a drink. Allergies are so much fun. And my fall allergies are worse than my spring ones. So. But they have this little routine. Normally in the morning, they're out here, out all over the front, along the side there. And then in the evening, they're up in the back, behind the retaining wall, that area. I did have some cat food, and it was a cheap brand of cat food that normally I would give the cats like treats, a piece here or there during the day. Well, the cats weren't eating it, so I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this cat food? I could take it to the SPCA, but I'm like, eh. So I've been putting it out in the back with the bird feeders. The deer come down and they eat it. So I'm like, all right, fine. It's great if you ask me. At least somebody's eating it. So then I remembered the brand that they normally like. And the only reason I didn't get that brand this last time is because they were out of it. So I thought, well, we'll try something different. That was a mistake. So anyway, so we tried it, and they like this other one. It's a little bit of a mix, and they really like it a lot. Because they're constantly going up and looking at it, at the container I have it in, like, can we have some more of that? Oh. And I've been sitting here thinking, of course, in the fall and winter months, things slow down a little bit, and I can do a lot more stuff in the house. I was like, okay, I need to get to that the cat diamond painting, get it finished. Thought maybe I would do that on one of our chats, just, as I go along and do the diamond painting. Maybe you guys would enjoy watching that. Sewing. Been doing more sewing. Like I said, I've been cutting more bags. These are Christmas bags, as well as some phone bags and some crossbody bags that I've been working on lately. Some of the regular totes, a couple of regular drawstring bags. But one thing that I have always enjoyed having is actually having a purse for the season. That being, I loved having a Halloween purse. I loved having, like spring, Easter purse, Christmas, one for the winter season, one for the fall season, those kind of things. And I had gotten away from that just because I didn't have time to make a lot of those past couple of years. So I'm like rediscovering some of those patterns that I used to create and make to make some different bags and purses. Because I love making bags. I love making all kinds of bags. Purses is basically how I started, not the project bags, tote bags, and drawstrings. I did have some people ask me about it, would you consider? So I started making those, and I have enjoyed making those as well. But I have a lot of different other things I like to make, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just branch out a little bit on those. Get those out there and started working on whatnot. And I have a couple of totes that are going to be of a little bit of different construction. The basic body of it, they're going to have more pockets in them, different types of pockets. But basically the body is going to be using a one of the Bosal foams or whatnot. They make the bag a lot lighter, but they stand up better instead of just the woven fuse that I've used in the past. Those are great for project bags because they do make them long-wearing, long-lasting. And but for some of these other bags, I had a different idea for using some of those, soft and sable, those kind of things. And that is basically just an interfacing, a foam interfacing that gives the bag a little bit more structure. So I am looking to use some of those things in the next couple of months. Get a couple of handbags and things out there. It's like I said, because that is something that I have loved. Coming up with ideas for handbags, whether it be one that had a flip over closure or zipper closure or just a button and a loop that was basically just an open bag. I find those open bags much better suited for things like book bags and, carrying some knitting in it too. I do that. Have carried that in there. But also they're great for purses. And my sister had asked me to make a bag that is, and I believe she's wanting the finished size to be 16 by 16 with a 4-inch depth to it. So I am working on a concept for that. She is wanting it to be like a crossbody bag so that she can carry treats in it for the dogs and leashes for her dogs. She does a lot of hospital visits with her dogs, and sometimes she needs a different leash depending on where they're going. And so we've been talking about that and me coming up with the concept for it, for her. Which means I get to play. And I like to play. I do enjoy that part. I am working on that romance ripple. I do want to really concentrate on getting it worked up a little bit more so that I can feel like I can get it finished. So that's what I've been working on this while we've been sitting here. Well, I guess me chatting, you listening. That's been a lot of fun. And I have almost got that shawl finished that I was telling you about, the garden, spring garden shawl that I was wanting to get finished for a sample and then starting another one for a tutorial. And for the tutorial, I thought, I've got those cakes that I'd bought of the Pioneer Woman yarn, so I thought I would use those. But at the same time, I had a little bit of a concern because I started reading some of the reviews, and there are a lot of people that say that the dye rubs off on your hands and bleeds when you wash it. So I may decide to use something else instead. But of course you won't know if it's going to do that if I don't try to use it, right? So maybe I should try to use it. And if it starts to do that, then maybe I should stop, wind it back up into a cake, and do a dye setter with it to hopefully stop it from doing that. I have dyed my own yarn in the past and, stopped it from bleeding by doing that. So we'll just have to try it and see what happens. Sometimes that's just playing with your yarn, right? And I keep seeing new yarns that keep coming out, and I'm like, oh, I want it. But at the same time, I'm like, you got a garage full. Use your yarn that you have. Maybe you can reward yourself at a later date with some of those newer yarns. So we'll kind of see how that works up. Well, folks, I think I have chatted on long enough for this time. So I am going to let you go, and I will see you again soon. But in the meantime, remember, don't let those donkeys and those elephants drive a wedge between us, because there'll be another election in 4 years. All right, guys. See you guys then.